Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unhinged by Uncaged. I am your host, Lucero Salgado.
And I am Zenith Pincheri.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about Women's History Month. These episodes are part of our efforts with SEA to make Freedom High School a more inclusive environment. And we have the honor to be accompanied by our beautiful guests. Please introduce yourselves.
My name is Sasha Vicente, and I am from a women's studies class.
My name is Gabby Cordero, and I'm an SEA representative, and I'm a member of Women's Empowerment Club.
Beautiful women right here. So to start our episode off, Zenith, can you talk to us about Women's History Month?
Yes, of course. So, every year, the month of March is designated to be Women's History Month by presidential proclamation. The month is set aside to honor women's contributions in American history. But did you know that Women's History Month actually started off as Women's History Week?
Wow.
Ba-bam.
No clue.
Me neither.
So, pretty much, it all started off in Santa Rosa, California in the 70s, late 70s. The organizers selected the week of March 8th specifically, to correspond with International Women's Day. The movement quickly spread around, and in the 80s, the president at the time, Jimmy Carter, issued the first presidential proclamation declaring that the week of March 8th in the 80s as National Women's History Week. And then since then, at 1995, 1990s, around that time, each president has issued an annual proclamation designating the entire month to be what we know today as Women's History Month.
And Sasha, you have a fun fact about March the 8th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys know I was actually born on March 8th?
So cool.
I had no idea.
So
I know.
cool.
It's
Happy
crazy.
birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy late birthday.
So, we'd like to start off now, and we would like to know what Women's History Month means to every one of you.
To me, Women's History Month is celebrating and more acknowledging every single woman that has come before us fighting for women's rights so that we are where we are today. So that's what it means to me.
That's nice, yeah.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
My definition of what I think Women's History Month is basically the same thing Gabby said. I think it's just, again, acknowledging the people, the women that came before us, the women that we are, and the women we want to be in the future too. And I think it's just seeing how far we've gotten from the past and how farther along we can get.
So
That
beautiful,
makes
I'm going to
sense.
cry.
Empowering. For you, Kenneth, what does it mean?
To me,
Yes.
I agree with both of you. I could not have said this any better, to be honest with you. Women's History Month, it really is just acknowledging and just educating everybody else, in this generation specifically, about the past contributions that women have done and how it's led us to where we are today, and then continuing that further on generations for young girls and women in the future. And
Yes.
I hope everything advances 10 times more in the future, even more. I mean, we are definitely advanced now, but I hope to continue that even more.
And I think that it's beautiful how history is alive.
Mhm.
It happened, and thanks to those things that happened in the past is that we are who we are today and have the opportunities that we have. And hopefully, thanks to us, we can do something for the women in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about next generations, your little sister or daughters if you ever have one or you want one, or women in 1,000 years. What is the world going to look like thanks to us? So it's exciting, because it's not only about the past, it's also about us right now filming this podcast.
Yes.
And we have a little dynamic planned where we're gonna talk about our lives today and how thanks to the past, thanks to all these women in history, we are here making our own history. And I would like to know, who is one woman that you are grateful for?
I am very deeply grateful for my mother, who she came to the USA without knowing a word of English. And as a single mother, she raised me, and she worked from like starting off at Target, but then now working in like a corporate office and stuff like that. And she's just been supporting me, and through like all these tough times, she's still been very tough, and she's always had me like as her top priority, making sure that I get all the necessary education that I need and putting myself before her. And I'm very grateful for her and her sacrifices, and I think she's someone who I really aspire to be like, and it makes me like emotional.
Aww.
Because my
So
mother,
sweet.
I love her, yes. She's someone I
That's so sweet.
very much look up to.
We love Sasha's mom. And how about you, Gabby?
I'm grateful for every single woman in my family because every single one of them has shaped who I am in some way or another. And I think they've like taught me they've definitely taught me how to be like a strong, independent woman, because every single one of them was or still is a strong, independent woman. Like my mom, my grandma, and my great-grandmother all were single mothers at some time in their life. So, and they still like persevered. Like, you don't need a man for anything. And they just taught me that like you can do anything like on your own. Like, you don't need to depend on anyone else to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I think that's very important to know.
That's really beautiful. I really like how we have these examples of like independent women, and that represents how far we have come in history. Because at the beginning, you know, women had to marry to be someone. Like, you could not be you by yourself. You had to be with someone. And now you're able to like bring other people up and like teach them and make them independent and teach them how to live in a world that's dominated by men. And I think that's really beautiful and empowering. I love that. And our next question is, one woman that you find empowering. Zenith, would you like to answer this one?
Well, I would like to say, you know, my mother, of course, because like
She's like the first woman you probably met.
yeah,
Yes.
mhm.
No, that was probably the nurse
Oh,
that you came.
true.
Oh,
Nurse.
But then
I didn't even
you.
think of that. Yeah, I want to say my mother, but obviously, like going off base what you guys said as well. Like, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much like the first woman I grew up knowing, but like she also, you know, like my mom as well came to America not knowing a single thing of word of English as well, and living in a very like secluded area and like lifestyle and everything, and it took a long time. Like the experiences that she shares with me, it's like I empathize with her even though like I was very little or I wasn't even born yet at that time. It's like I can feel her pain, if that makes sense, and I consider her like my best friend, like on top of anybody. Like she's like my best friend, and I just like empathizing with her and talking about issues like this or issues about any problem that I may ever have. Like, I just find that very empowering to be able to share everything I can with her, to be able to have a great relationship with her, and hopefully continue that, you know, into adulthood. And I love my mom. That's all I gotta say. I think we all love our moms. We all love our moms.
And this turned into like a Mother's Day episode.
Yeah. Happy early Mother's Day, Mom.
Do you have any other women that you find empowering?
Yeah, my great-grandmother, she's like someone that I find very empowering because her husband at the time, he was mentally abusive, and she had the courage to like leave him even though it was like mid 1900s or like even like late 1900s, and which was still like, that was like still like, you cannot do that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you have to stay with your husband despite like regardless of like if he treats you wrong. But like my grandma, she left him, and so she could give her kids a better life and not show them the abusiveness of her husband and their fathers.
I feel like being a woman is being like the opposite of selfish. I don't know what the word is, but women give everything to everyone. And I feel like that's what, no, it shouldn't be like that, but I feel like that is how it is. Like, moms give everything for their kids. And I love my dad. I have a great dad. But I feel like there is no more unconditional love than what a woman will ever give you. And I feel like that's also why we have always been put down, because we give so much that people are always expecting us to give. And I feel like we've come to a moment in history where we can give and also receive, and hopefully it keeps getting better and better and we keep advancing. Because, you know, your great grandmother, she left, but not thinking about herself. She left because of her kids. Like, if it was for her, she probably would have stayed, because, like, what are people gonna say about her? You know,
She loved him, even like despite all the pain.
Exactly, but she loves her kids more. You know, and I think that's beautiful. I think we have great examples of women in our lives. And despite our like close circle of friends, or like close circle of women, what is a woman from history that you find empowering? Elizabeth Blackwell. She was the first woman doctor, like medicine doctor in the US. And she made the first hospital for women and children. She like was so devoted to medicine that she was like sick and she couldn't operate anymore, but she would still take care of kids. Like, she was very devoted to it, and she fought to be a doctor. Like, nowadays being a doctor is really hard. Now imagine being a woman when women can't go to school and go through med school while everyone is against you going to med school. And she did it, and now there's a bunch of women in STEM or in medicine. So I think that's beautiful, empowering. And do you have one, Gabby?
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying. I think that's very inspiring, because I want to go to medical school, and like sometimes I feel like I can't do it, but the fact that like she did it even under those circumstances like inspires me to like persevere and like go to medical school.
Yes. I have, like, as what you're saying, like a little advice. Every single time in your everyday life that you're like, ugh, I don't want to do this. Ugh, I don't want to go to school. A woman gave her life for you to be able to go to school, or for you to be able to vote. Like, appreciate everything that you have, because people devoted their lives to fight for what you take for granted. So appreciate their efforts. And to finish this episode off, we would like to know, what is one thing that you're doing or would like to do to empower youth, or in general women nowadays?
I'm really grateful that this year they started off with having a women's studies class, because this is the first year we actually have a women's studies class, and I'm so grateful for every single person that's in my class, and the fact that it's actually a full class
Of women.
But there's actually some men in other classes actually.
Oh, good.
Really?
But
That's nice.
yeah. But I think it's amazing that schools are actually starting to have women's studies class and the women's studies empowerment club and stuff like that. But I think it's amazing that we're starting to teach people more about women and how far we've come along, what we went through, what more can we do, and stuff like that.
I think it's very important to talk about women's issues and like teach young children that like this is a thing, and not just like disregard it or like neglect it, because that's part of the problem. So I think it's very important to have, like you said, like those classes, I don't know, like on social media, just like some ways to like show young children that like women, to like break those stereotypes and show that women are empowering, they're not submissive, they can do great things. So I think it's important to like break those gender stereotypes, especially when they're young, when kids are young, because that's when like their minds are developing and like they're like developing their values. So I think it's important to develop like positive values towards women.
No, you're so right, because we talk about so many things that I would not think about that would like in a way, like, fit. Like, there's so many things that women go through that just, like, go over your head. You don't realize it's something that's targeting you. You're just like, oh, that's how things are.
Yeah.
But then you go to these classes and you're like, whoa,
It shouldn't be like that.
it shouldn't be like that. And you realize, whoa, all these things that have, like, happened, and you're like, damn, that shouldn't, like, no, it's not right. And I'm so grateful to have, like, an amazing teacher and amazing classmates that are helping me open my eyes to the world and find out more ways how to, like, stop whatever this is going, because I it's not good, and I'm glad we're finding more ways to stop it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, thank you so much for your opinions. We really appreciate you taking time off of your day to be here.
Thank you so much for having us. I had so much fun.
Of course.
To, like, the last thing that we have to do is read our Instagram comments. You should follow us on Instagram if you don't do it already. But we asked the Freedom community to answer the questions that we just answered today, because of course we cannot fit all of Freedom here, but we're able to reach to all of you through social media. So here we have some of the answers that you have given us. People's favorite celebrities are Taylor Swift, Shakira,
Her.
same, Rihanna, and Selena Gomez. Some people also think that we should encourage women to do more, to talk, to get more knowledge, to study, to just push boundaries and keep on growing. And people that, or women that people find empowering are people's moms and Malala Yousafzai.
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Malala Yousafzai.
Okay, good. And without anything else left to say, we thank all of you that are here today. Thank you so much.
Yes.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.